bonjour, bon à tous, c'est Kavax, on se retrouve sur la partie, sur la dernière partie de Mr. Hopps Playhouse, à part si je me chauffe à aller voir tous les secrets moi-même, ce que je ne suis pas du tout chaud, vraiment, et du coup là je suis dans le jeu et pas sur une vidéo parce qu'en fait, la dernière fois, j'avais oublié qu'on n'avait pas fait les mini-jeux, enfin on en a fait un, c'est Hop, ok, et maintenant... déjà j'ai pas trouvé toutes les pièces parce que... Oh, j'en ai deux. Vas-y, je vais acheter le bleu, il est joli le bleu. Le bleu et le vert. Voilà. Viens, je vais essayer un autre. Non, en vrai, lui il est bien. Du coup, je vais faire... je vais aller... Quoi Hopps Horde Mode. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Quoi qu'est-ce que c'est? Quoi? Oh! Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh, c'est génial! Ah, c'est dur! Ah! Non! Non! Ah! Non! Oh, je suis pas mort! Non, je suis mort. Ah! Sûr! Attends, faut que j'essaye. Parce qu'en fait, quand je suis comme ça, je peux pas me retourner. Ok. Ah, c'est trop que je peux. Ah, les chauves-souris, je peux pas. Ah, si, je peux. Non! Oh, mais c'est giga dur. C'est super dur. Ah mais en fait j'ai du temps, je l'ai pas capté. Non. Ah! C'est dur. Et si j'essaie juste de les éviter, ça fait quoi? Ah! Je suis sur la touche. Je suis pas chaud, tu vois. Ah non. Trop chiant. Et bon, je les évite, c'est trop dur. Ah, c'est trop dur. Oh, il y avait une vie. Il y avait un cœur. Ah, je suis sûre. Ah ouais, 33 secondes, c'est beaucoup quand même. Ah mais attends, mais faut... Ah mais ils se sont dit, bah non c'est bon, on vient plus. Oh là je suis chaud, je suis chaud. Ah non. Oh, non, j'aurais foncé dessus. Je crois que j'ai mon high score. D'accord. J'ai compris comment on peut réussir. Ah! Non, j'ai pas compris. J'ai battu mon high score. Toi, c'est vous. Non. Oh. J'ai battu mon record, je suis content. Je crois en fait j'ai compris comment ça marche. Il faut survivre 6 minutes comme 6 heures du matin ou... Non, juste le plus longtemps possible. Sinon ça sert pas à grand chose. Alors, t'es content d'avoir battu ton record. Super dur. Après on passe au prochain mini-jeu. C'est chiant Non, truc. Ça va non mais... Ah, tire sur le truc. Mais tire pas sur le bon truc. Oh, attends, j'ai une idée. Non. Attends, je vais essayer un truc. En fait, là, tu vu, on peut aller de haut en bas au lieu de droite à gauche. Non. Mais tire! Tu ne tires plus. Non. Mais oui, mais si tu tires pas aussi. Sois logique. J'ai rien dit, c'est super dur. Oh, attends, j'ai augmenté mon high score. Oh, c'est quoi ça? C'est parce que j'ai récupéré. Mais tire là-dessus! Si tu tires pas, là où je te dis de tirer, c'est normal que tu meurs. Alors, je fonce sur la boule. Bon, prochain mini-jeu. Il m'a saoulé. Il y a 5-40 secondes. Exit. 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 Hop, rush. Ah mais attends, mais... On connaît ça? Non. Ah mais attends, mais ce serait pas... ce que je pense... J'aime bien la musique. On le connaît déjà. Prochain truc, parce que lui il est un peu chiant. Hop, Bird. Ah mais oui, lui c'est celui qui m'a saoulé un moment. Ah non, c'est pas lui. Je suis trompée. Oh, on dirait le jeu Instagram. C'est le truc là avec la caméra. Mais quoi? C'est... Mais attends, mais... Faut même pas que ça touche. Faut même pas que ça touche avec l'oreille, c'est giga dur. Attends. Non mais comment tu veux faire ça? Oh non mais là c'est impossible. Je suis obligée sinon ça touche celui du bas. Ah non c'est... Oh non mais là je l'ai pas touché, c'est bon, ça m'a saoulé. Alors juste j'ai vu un truc, on est ici, vous voyez. Regardez, c'est un truc, c'est le seul truc que j'avais vu. Ah non. Mais à la base, il y a un vase ici et genre quand tu le pousses, genre ça, tu fais hop, pam, il tombe. Et après, genre tu vas là-bas. C'est bizarre, attends. Et après, tu vas là-bas et il y a une pièce secrète. Attendez, je vais essayer de trouver.
Wanna play hide and seek with us?
That wouldn't be fair.
Ah, attends,
You can see Esther's
juste
big
viens
head
de
from
me rendre
anywhere.
compte.
You
Je
are
viens de me rendre
so
compte
funny,
que
Molly.
il y a
Don't
l'autre là,
forget
celui avec
peaceful
le
and
tigre. Il a dit,
You go count by the lift. We will hide in the library.
il a dit est-ce que tu veux jouer à cache-cache avec nous? Et justement, c'est la même phrase qu'il avait dit dans le grenier. Mais genre du même ton.
3,
Genre.
2, 1. Coming! Ready or not? Mr. Hop, you wait here.
Attends, je vais juste voir un truc. Est-ce que c'est bien... Attends, je crois que c'est là. Je ne suis pas sûre. Punaise, je crois qu'il fallait... Attends, mais je comprends pas, genre.
Oh, not there!
Pourquoi il n'y a pas de vase ici? Attends, je vais essayer de refaire le niveau. Je vais continuer. Oh, il y a un niveau secret. Moi, je veux voir le niveau secret. Ah, mais attends, mais faut faire quoi pour avoir le niveau secret? Je sais pas.
Do you want to play hide and seek with us?
That wouldn't be fair.
Ah, je
You can
suis
see
ici.
Esther's big head from anywhere.
You are so funny, Molly.
Don't forget beautiful and clever.
You go count by the lift. We will hide in the library.
Oui, on a compris. Et attends, mais... Ah, mais je peux pas. C'est quoi? Je vais voir la vidéo directement parce que... Ou alors c'est genre...
3, 2, 1. Coming! Ready or not? Mr. Hop, you wait here.
Attends, peut-être qu'en fait, faut d'abord, avant d'aller voir le vase... Attends. Peut-être qu'il faut d'abord aller là-bas. Voilà, et ensuite aller là-bas. Je vais essayer. Non, c'est pas ça.
Oh, not there!
Je vais chercher.
Bro Mike here, and in
Okay,
today's
on
video
est,
we take a look at the Hopps Playhouse 2.
Il a
In this
des
video I will
rues.
show you all
Attends.
4 endings, including the secret
quatre
true ending, which is
endings.
unlocked after collecting all 6 medallions throughout the game. I'll also show you the locations
Oh.
of these medallions and
Ah,
a
vous
quick
voyez, on a vu
playthrough
le
of
vase.
each of their associated
trop bien, ça.
mini-games. On top of that, this video contains a playthrough of the
Quoi?
final secret chapter and its boss fight,
Mais
as
moi, je
well
l'ai
as
vu,
a
c'est-
very retro
Oh, ça,
Easter
ça
egg
fait
to boot. So sit back, relax, and let's start by unlocking some of this creepy game's hidden lore.
Ah, je savais pas. Pac-Man. Pac-Man.
To kick off
Y a
this
Pac-Man?
video, I want to
No,
show
en
you
vrai, y
a
a
pretty
Pac-Man.
awesome Easter egg hidden within the Whispers chapter of the game.
Oh, on
Now,
peut
something
récupérer
to
les
note
vases.
here is that you do not need to replay the entirety of Mr. Hopps Playhouse to try and collect these secrets for yourself. Instead,
des
simply
extras?
hit continue in the main menu and you'll be able to
Ah, mais c'est
select
peut-être
any
là,
completed chapter from the list. This menu even tells us which chapters contain a hidden medallion. So back to that Easter egg. In the Whispers chapter, after speaking to Esther's 2 imprisoned friends in this room on the top floor of the orphanage, you will notice a vase to the left of a room. At the moment, we cannot interact with this ornament, and instead must locate and smash 4 other similar vases around the house.
Genre vraiment, il faut récupérer des vases et tout, genre.
3 of these are located within the hallways where the matrons patrol, while the final vase is found in the kitchen area atop a counter. With the vases all smashed, return to the room upstairs, and Esther is now able to break the final vase. Upon doing so, we hear a very retro video game sound effect. This is an audio cue from the game Pac-Man and ties into the Easter egg directly,
moi,
as now the matrons patrolling the orphanage show up as Pac-Man ghosts. A nice little throwback to retro gaming, especially considering the old school pixel art aesthetic Mr. Hopps Playhouse employs itself.
C'est génial.
Okay, so now let's take a look at the various endings unlockable as we venture through the game. The first one is a secret, and a well-hidden one at that. Once again, we must return to the chapter Whispers, and from here enter the library area and then proceed to the matron's quarters by entering the door to the far right. You'll soon come across a pushable stool, and so begins our long journey as Esther must push this seat all the way to the far right of the house. Upon reaching the back door, the chair vanishes.
Quoi?
Entering the now accessible garden area reveals we have taken the stool with us. We must now push it to the far end of the garden and into the bushes. Once there, Esther is able to clamber onto the stool and leap to the nearby wall, where she makes a quick getaway and triggers the following ending. Esther decided she'd had enough of this nonsense, so she ran and left it all behind for somebody else to deal with.
Mettre les sous-titres
Smart girl.
automatiques en français.
Now for perhaps the weirdest ending in the game, the magic shell ending. For this one we must head over to the cellar chapter, where Esther finds herself imprisoned in the basement at the mercy of Mr. Hop and his demonic projections. As we make our way through the cellar, Esther comes across a wall with a very noticeable crack in the centre. At the moment we have nothing to break through to the other side, but this changes very soon. After being chased by Mr. Hop and entering this room with the 3 shadow hands, Esther acquires a crowbar. The crowbar serves as a way to prise a nearby drawer open, so Esther can access a key which powers on the elevator, leading to her escape. However, for this secret ending, we instead want to head back to the mysterious crack in the wall, and now by pressing the interact button, Esther can break through to the other side.
Ah ouais, j'y avais pas pensé à ça.
Here we find a shell surrounded by candles, and the words, "All Hail," spray painted across the brickwork behind it. Simply interact with the shell to unlock this secret ending. Esther asked the mysterious shell what to do about the situation she was in. It replied, "Nothing." Esther did as she was instructed, for the shell had spoken.
Quoi? Regular ending.
In some ways, the bad ending feels like a pretty conclusive and natural end to the game. However, it is much grimmer than the good Underworld chapter.
Ça, elle on l'a vu.
Where are you going?
Ouais, elle on l'a vu.
Who has arrived. Of course, in order to obtain the medallions, we must first beat a series of challenging minigames. To begin, select the chapter labelled Billy's Ball, located within the Molly chapter. From here, instead of heading to the matron's quarters after speaking with Billy, go back to the main hall and head into this room on the top floor instead. You'll see the medallion to the left, which leads to the following minigame. Okay guys, so I just thought I'd join you while we get through these sort of mini stages and just commentate over the top. Basically just give you some tips and let you know how I got through these stages. These little mini games are really hard, actually quite frustrating, and I would advise, if possible, my #1 tip is to use a gamepad like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller if you have one. Do not try doing it on keyboard and mouse, or I should say just keyboard, because it is almost impossible to do some of these, or at least I found it was, with the keyboard. It's much easier with the gamepad, and it feels like the game was designed around a gamepad and not the keyboard. So for this one, all we have to do is basically keep running from Mr. Hop, and when we go under the spikes we duck, and of course for everything else we've got to jump. Now, the hardest things to sort of time the jump for are the taller spikes that stick out of the ground. I've just jumped one there. So the timer goes on pretty well on get medallion. That's medallion #1.
Attends, mais il va faire tous les médaillons là. Mais attends, j'ai trop la flemme. J'ai trop la flemme d'aller voir tous les médaillons. Ouais.
The 5th medallion can be located. This
ah oui,
one was tricky.
Si on monte encore plus haut que...
I think
ce qu'on doit monter, non, c'est non, je ne refais plus ça.
This was another one. Tips.
C'est long.
Fights to go up.
Oui, c'est bon, on a compris.
All medallions are collected, replay the sub-chapter, the jump, and this time upon waking back up in the orphanage, after escaping Mr. Hopps Playhouse, events change drastically. I'll leave you with my playthrough of this final chapter, its boss fight, and so that in real time. So that in real time I'm actually playing the game and doing a normal commentary as I play it now, because I haven't experienced this final chapter, which is called Chapter 9 Underworld.
Where am I now?
So this is a brand new chapter that we've just unlocked by getting all the different medallions that you've been sort of seeing me get as we've gone through this video, and I'm now joining you in real time, so to speak, as we both play through the chapter together. I don't know what to expect from this. It looks pretty eerie and spooky. Oh look, I think we have to get torches by the look of it.
Truc-là.
I don't know what torch or how long this chapter is or what to expect from
Oui,
it.
ça aurait pu être bien de le faire.
So far it's
Bon, attends, j'ai zappé juste voir la fin, moi.
So we've got the
C'est quoi ce
medallions
truc
around our neck, and we can use that to... But still, special powers.
Bon, c'est bon, c'est... Attends.
Boom. Ooh, that was so close. What's going on? What's that noise? Oh, that's on the ground. Okay. Oh yeah, we hit him. When he comes down, we have to hit him. It's actually quite hard. Let's go back up, guys. We got him again. Nice. This is like...
Bon, je les ai fait.
He's straight up spitting fire.
Parce que Mr. Hop...
Oh, he's Mr. Hopps is not messing around. He's like, I'm gonna give it everything I've got now, guys. So this is
Ah,
gonna
mais
be
c'est un
tough.
flash, le truc jaune.
And we vanquished the entity too.
You cannot escape this.
Tu peux pas t'échapper... je sais
Okay. Do we just destroy her? Yep, there we go.
pas. Oh, on a détruit...
Everyone's back.
nous
We
chuchote
saved
tout
the
le temps.
day.
What happened? It doesn't matter. Everything's okay now. Do you want to play hide and seek?
I do.
Yes, but I'll count this time. By the way, where did you get that necklace?
Oh,
So they became best of friends for life. She kept the necklace, which protected her from like the darkness. But then her family, of course, with Ruby. So her daughter had, you know, a baby girl called Ruby. That's obviously Esther as she grew up. And she
Is
gave
that
Mr. Hop to Ruby. And yeah, Ruby kind of got terrorized by Mr. Hop later in life. So a happy ending for Esther, but not such a happy ending for Ruby. And it
mais
looks
Ruby,
like Esther was
c'est,
always haunted by the spirits of Mr. Hops.
Ruby, c'est qui déjà?
And there we go. That is Esther giving Ruby
Mais oui,
Mr.
Ruby,
Hops
c'est,
and
celle
demon
dans
in
le
the
1, non?
background. The entity, as it's called in the game. So there you have it, all endings unlocked as well as the secret stage to boot. I hope you enjoyed this video looking at the secrets of Mr.
Attends,
Hopps
mais y en avait
Playhouse
pas,
2, and I'll return soon
Moi,
for
j'en
one
connaissais-
final
genre, j'en
video
avais
where we
eu un
take
autre,
an
bon,
in-depth
attends,
look
deux
at the
secondes.
story of the
Guys, my name is Gray and
Ok,
welcome
j'ai
to
trouvé
Two
une autre
Left
vidéo,
Thumbs.
bon, on va
This is
zapper
the
l'intro.
highly anticipated Mr. Hopps Playhouse
No,
2. Similar to what I did. First off, I did want to look at things really.
Je les appelais.
So in the main manor, there are 3 very wide floors. I'll
Bon, attends, je vais y aller. Il y
Mr.
a
Hop
des
having
cadeaux
one
apparemment.
wandering eye is most likely meant to be a reference to the more recent movie adaptations
Ils
of
ont déjà fait la
Pennywise from
référence
Stephen King's It.
avec lui.
Dee seems to also be aware of the whispers.
Do you hear it?
Attends, là, je...
Developers scripted
quoi,
out
Among
that
Us?
line without knowing its like inherent meme quality. Chapter 5 is
génial.
the loop. The first part of it is this kind of tedious urn puzzle. I use puzzle quite loosely. It can be a bit of a frustrating part of the game, but it leads into one of the most exciting parts, which is this repeating cyclical hallway, with each pass through it being slightly different. This is a conceptual reference to the PlayStation horror game demo PT.
ah ouais?
There
Ça,
are a
je connais pas.
series of vases hidden around the map
mais
that you
oui.
have to smash, and you can
le
only
rat
do
qu'on
so
suit, je
during the
crois.
nighttime. On the bottom floor, in the kitchen, off to the far, far right, you need the stool in place for this one, but you can now smash the red urn. Urn, vase, I don't really know what. We make our way
Oui,
back
oui, c'est,
immediately to the
Pac-Man.
stool in place and interact with the 5th vase, the yellow. And by
Là, ça
smashing
va
that,
faire les trucs Pac-Man.
we unlock a secret, have a little sound effect, head back into the hallway, and the matrons that wander the hallway are now replaced with little ghosts from Pac-Man. We have the blue
Ah,
one,
mais il se déplace.
orange, red, and pink. See, now that makes
Je trouve
sense.
qu'ils sont stylés.
Once we have
Ce
the
qu'ils ont fait,
Pac-Man-
c'est stylé.
There is this portion of the game where we have a password entering puzzle. I'm sure everyone remembers from the first game, the 1987 Secret Hidden Within. I actually don't know Five Nights at Freddy's lore that well. Thank you guys for the thorough explanations of the bite of 87. You know, sound off in the comments with some like Markiplier memes or something. And I know you made it this far into the video. It's a little less straightforward this time. 1987, interact with it, close down, and we have a little Freddy Fazbear top hat stacked on top of these boxes. You can't grab or interact with it. The stack of boxes gives it some height. We can pretend that that's the body of Freddy. So we just have that subtle connection of the specific year and the top hat. You can only activate panel when you have the correct code entered, and all that does is restore power to the lift. It doesn't actually bring this to life or anything. It has been confirmed by the developer the original game. When Mr. Hopps Playhouse 1 was remade for a mobile version, this Golden Freddy was replaced with a top hat only, since that version of the game is monetized, and they wanted to avoid any copyright issues. Now, I had shared with the developer what I was able to find on my own before the game's proper release, and as an extra once you've entered that, you can see a little white sock on this box. And yes, you can have both of those little secrets of Mr. Hopps Playhouse 1. It's totally identical to the original. Ruby's parents' bedroom doesn't actually exist at all. Finally, we have one of the hardest to find secrets in the game. It was seemingly the last one to be found. Upon a specific interaction, you will hear a whisper during the... So begin the hunt. Run up to the left, up and around. You shouldn't encounter any matrons. Spam interact a bunch of times. Progress the story to chapter 3. And after collecting the 5th medallion, you'll hear something quietly in the background. It's a little bit involved to reach this point. I couldn't get it to activate 100% consistently. I assume there's something specific in interacting with everything over and over. The just go spam no girl's name. And with that, we have the last secret. Another a few times, take next to no. Either never would have. They certainly have. There is an achievement. Lockable menu. A minute or two that are hidden up inside of cupboards. You have to push some stools around to get them. It's an AI. Hop Horde has little demons generating and yet the same points they give back. So there's no real incentive to make it deeper into this. I would recommend just trying to survive through the first wave or two, farm some easy points, collect pickups throughout. On the statue here, you can climb up and interact with it twice to push it off the edge. Once that has been shattered, if we go all the way over to the right-hand side, a new passage will inside which we have a giant literal Easter egg, which I'm guessing is maybe Moonbit, the developer themselves. And you'll notice connecting with any up on the second from the top shelf, we have a little blue one. Second click, take the stool all the way over to the left, and there is a brown one, second from the top. Third click, you can leave the library, head up to the second floor, off to the right, and this bookshelf can be moved out of the way. Behind there, we have a small, blocky world. Everything is squares. Yeah, it's a full-on Minecraft fait dans un jeu d'horreur?
Ah mais voilà ce que je me disais, ça ressemblait à un creeper genre dans Minecraft.
Another secret that I think is best done during chapter 4 during the daytime.
Moi j'ai joué une fois à Minecraft, j'y joue pas souvent.
An easy step to miss, but something that's been confirmed by the developer, is that you have to interact
on a compris.
all in the dining room here. and groovy written on the wall.
C'est pas...
All
Ah
of
mais
this
ça, attends.
is in reference to Sam
pas
Raimi's
si,
Evil
le
Dead
mec,
series. The
avec
book
la
upstairs
tronçonneuse,
would be the
avec la
Necronomicon. This would be
tronçonneuse.
Ash's chainsaw.
Ouais, lui, la
and
tronçon...
groovy is a
Attends,
bit of a
j'arrive pas à dire le
catchphrase
tronçon...
of
Ah,
his.
attends. C'est tronçon... Ah,
And once
j'arrive
again,
pas à dire
we have a present to
tronçonneuse.
collect.
Je sais plus.
For these
Ah,
next few
j'arrive pas à le dire.
secrets, it doesn't
Enfin, bref,
matter
vous
if
voyez
it's
ce que je veux
day
dire.
or night. So I would. That makes for 11 plants on the bottom floor, 4 on the.
Oh, attends, c'est quoi ça?
We're taken to a separate room with a painting, a Bob Ross
Oh,
reference.
je connais pas.
You can collect your gift, and we'll have one more
pas.
to go. The final one of these gifts is so highly. Tommy Wiseau hanging out here.
Oh,
a
il y
big
a une salle secrète.
passageway, which takes us to the apartment
C'est stylé.
from the
Il y a quelqu'un
room,
en plus.
known as being one of the worst movies.
Je les ai-
At this point, we will have had all 6 gifts. When you visit this in the extras section, we get fun confetti to let us know just how well we've
Ah, c'est
done.
normal, moi
There
j'ai
are
pas
a
les
few
cadeaux parce
extra
que j'ai pas les
secrets,
extras.
ones that are not tied to any of these gifts. Mr. Hop having one wandering eye is most likely meant to be a reference to the more recent movie
Bon,
adaptations of Penny.
Bon, bah on en a fini avec Mr. Hopps Playhouse. Bah du coup, moi j'ai vraiment bien aimé. Après, je crois il y en a pas d'autres. Il y a le 1, il y a le 2. Et c'est tout, je crois. En tout cas, enfin bref. J'espère que vous avez bien aimé la vidéo. Moi, j'ai bien aimé faire les petits mini-jeux et tout ça, c'était sympathique. Et on se retrouve sur une prochaine vidéo, je pense. Je suis pas sûre, mais je vais peut-être faire une vidéo sur Minecraft. J'hésite encore. Enfin bref, on se retrouve sur une prochaine vidéo très bientôt. Au revoir.